All right. The first thing I want to do is, kind of offer prayers and condolences to what's going on at the University of Virginia. It's a sad deal and a reminder of how precious life is, and there's no words that can express any comfort or help, but just acknowledge that we're praying for those families and everybody involved in that situation.
The during the stretch of these 5 games, with the running for 200 yards a game, are you actually seeing the line even getting better from week to week still, or are they pretty much just being consistent at this point?
Yeah, you're starting to see a little bit more consistency show up. There's still way too many times we got hit for a negative, but we've been having big plays, which helps. But, the consistency has been showing up where, we've had the consistent guys out there for a while, which helps. And, so there's an understanding. And also they've been in the offense together in some same positions for a while, so you're starting to see that pay off.
Coach, and you've talked about the sort of camaraderie within your segment group of just guys being happy for one another, having success, and not being about them. We kind of saw that bleed over to social media. Coach Tokars tweeted a comment at you about, a graphic they showed during the telecast about how successful you guys are on offense. Is that something that permeates the entire program? It's not just guys happy for each other, whether it's players, but it's also coaches?
Yeah, anytime, we talked about this in the offensive meeting when we came back, and with the whole offense and everybody involved, we talked about how when things are starting to go well or they're perceived as going well, how there's always that adversary or that devil that be in your ear, kind of whispering to you about what about you, what the team's doing well, but what about your showcase? And when you can have guys that genuinely are happy for each other and pushing each other and understanding that the success is coming because of that unselfish mentality, you got a pretty special team. And I think, I believe we've done a good job of managing that through these good times and even through the bad times. Because even when you're going through we had a rough patch there, that same person to come on your shoulder and kind of whisper to you about, to go against the grain. So you got to fight that little person every day to kind of keep your focus and keep your attention on genuine success. And that doesn't come unless you build the relationships outside of the building. It can't be just something you say in a meeting. They've got to connect in the apartments. They got to connect in the cafeteria. They got to be truly friends to be able to get that kind of camaraderie.
Who got the Punisher Award, and how impressed were you with what the receivers did with the ball in their hands from a physical standpoint?
It's hard. If you watch the film, Michael Pittman shows up still. He's a bulldog out there, and he loves it. And he loves contact. He loves physicality. Pokey Wilson on the play in the end zone. We ran the zone. He got him one. So that was good to see him. And Maurice Smith done a fantastic job of, we changed up a lot of things from the looks. They presented a lot of challenges with twist. We changed the cadence. There was a lot we did that went into it that Mo had to control, and I thought he did a really good job of handling the middle and taking care of business in that aspect. So I was proud of those guys for kind of showcasing that ability. We talk about Michael Pittman. We talk about Malik had a good one. He had Pokey Wilson and Maurice Smith. So I was just proud of those guys' effort and how they came out and how they attacked that. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, for this game, it seemed like going in, you guys had a lot of short passes and kind of depending on the receivers to get some yards after the catch. Was that the game plan going in?
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
It seemed like you guys were depending a lot on the receivers getting yards after the catch. Was that something, a game plan going in? That you guys saw something on film, or was that something like, just you guys had talked about taking what the defense gives this year? Is that kind of what happened?
Yeah, what we talk about is, whenever you get the opportunity, if you want to be that overachiever, if you want to have, if you want to rush for 1,000, catch for 1,000, all these things, it doesn't happen with just a catch fall. You got to be able to create some space and go. And they play a little bit of deep coverage, so we had to go underneath a little bit. Still, it's kind of a combination of all. They played deep, good job kind of getting out of there, so we couldn't get over the top like we wanted to, so we had to take those short passes. Also in protection, we wanted to get the ball out. They presented a 3-down scheme that caused some issues in protection, so we wanted to get the ball out. So it's a combination of all, but I thought the receivers did a good job. Jordan was accurate. It's all get out, so we were able to kind of create some good positive momentum going with those short passes.
Kind of following up on that, do quarterbacks sometimes get tempted to kind of get bored with some of the easy passes and like try to maybe take some chances? And how good has he done of not falling into that trap, I guess?
Well, Jordan has done a good job of managing it overall, but one thing about him, he doesn't get tired of taking those checks down. That's what I think it makes him special because, he's been able to protect the football and he hadn't forced a lot of things. There's not many throws you see where like, oh, he does a good job of making good, accurate throws and taking what the defense gives him and going through his progression flawlessly. So I give him a lot of credit because, you got a good quarterback when he's not scared to keep taking what they give you. Even in this game plan when it was just taking the spots and the nows and those little small screens that those receivers were able to catch a ball, get missing, and beat, one tackle. So he does. And also, give him credit because sometimes he gets to that because he sees it. It might not be a part of the play call. So he's doing a good job of taking what they give him.
I think that's 3 straight games you got Tate in the game late. How big is that for his development? And what do you want to see from him when he gets in the game, in these late game situations to keep working on?
Well, we tell those guys when they go in there that the opposing team is still going to have their one defense out there. So we're not going out there to just basically go, it's not Disneyland. We go out like we're going to go put a drive together and see if you can help this football team if your number is called. So not only just development, but the mentality of them going out there, putting a drive together and understanding to execute, because it's different when you don't have the pressure of if you mess up, you lose the game, So you're going out there in the best possible situation because you cannot mess it up. So you want to still create that feeling of, all right, this is on you. So they kind of learn and develop that feeling as they're going through. So to your question, yes, it helps a lot in development because not only just the physical part of playing it, but the mentality of going out there and having to go hit somebody else who's still taking it real serious.
Malik's still a young receiver, and for him to have a play like that where, he just refuses to go down and kind of is physical with a DB, what can that do for him in those situations going forward? Do you just sometimes you kind of have to do that to know you can do that?
Oh yeah, Malik's gonna be a problem. He's getting stronger. He's getting if you look at him just physically, he's getting getting thicker, and his confidence is rising, and also that room pushes each other. Some competition in that room to go get those balls. So when you get him, and mentality is I got to do something with it, that creates a little bit more hunger, a little bit more competitiveness. But Malik is going to be a problem for a while, man. As big as he is, strong as he is, smart as he is, and able to kind of – and he's always showed up. If you go through the season, he had some high point where he had to go high point the ball. That one he had to go stiff arm a guy. So he's going to be a problem for a while, and I can't wait to see him keep growing.
As constructed, this current team, are you guys playing about as good as you could expect? I know Coach Norvell said the goal is that you guys have been dominant the last 2 weeks, but the goal is to keep pushing to get better. But as a coach, do you have to assess what you have and realize that maybe you guys are playing kind of near your ceiling and you don't want to push them too hard, or is that something that you can't even cross your mind?
No, that wouldn't be this program. Everything is going to the maximum. There's no, whatever that ceiling is, it's always been proven that it can always go higher. If you challenge yourself in unique ways, you can always find a way to get better. I remember, visiting when going to those NFL practices, and those guys, man, they play in the Super Bowl, and they say, man, I didn't play like I could have played, and so there's always a unique challenge to challenge yourself, and the way this program is ran with Coach Norvell, it's in all aspects of your life, whether it be academics, nutrition. There's always something you can say, I can improve in this, because it's about the process and not the result. But no, we got quite a bit more strides to take, a bit more strides to take.
Trey, it seems like we talk about Trey every week. But then after the games, he's so quick to compliment or to thank the offensive line and compliment everybody else. Like how has he just his mentality meshed with what you guys want to do, or did he come that way?
No, Trey came that way. Trey's a high character, great, selfless, humble football player. I'm pretty sure, the time you all been around him, he doesn't say much. He's behind the scenes, quiet, and he just wants to go out there and do his best and support the teammates out there. But no, he came in like that, even with meeting his mother and recruiting and what he comes from. Like he is as good as they get as far as character goes.
When you have 3 running backs that can really do a lot for you guys, how do you go about divvying up the reps, especially when one like Trey recently has done extremely well? And what has his play recently done in terms of maybe earning more of those reps?
Yeah, I think in the first half he might have had 8 carries, and he still was doing a good job. So, there's a balance of, we don't game plan it per se. If this back's in here, we're doing this or this. We let them all go. We let them. We're all capable of doing everything we ask them to do. So, you know, Trey was feeling it. So, you know, whoever's, you know, being that productive part in that point, we're gonna get you the ball more. So it's really just whoever come out, and it's similar to the receivers. I know at one point each receiver was having a different. It's kind of like with running back, except Trey has just been more consistently because, you know, Trey was out. I mean, War was out. Trayshawn was out. So guys had to step up. Nine here still had some big plays in there too. So it's just more, you know, whoever that hot hand is or who's feeling it, we're gonna make sure we get the ball to them.
Could you talk a little bit about the last touchdown? You know, that play design, the way they executed it, and then Wyatt hanging in there and delivering that throw, you know, as the guy's barreling down on him.
Oh man, Wyatt, Wyatt too. You watch him on special teams, and when he's in there, he's a tough individual also. But those plays like that, you run them all year. I mean, we've been repping multiple plays like that we got in the stable since really the start of camp. I mean, you know, you always have those periods that you run those plays just in case you need them. You got multiple of them, and so, you know, to them, you know, to the outside it seems like a trick play, but you run them so much it's not really a trick play or design. It's just like running inside zone to us because you put so many reps into it on those, you know, those Sunday practices, those Thursday practices. You rep those plays and you always have them when you need them, and so, you know, especially with the rule changes and, you know, with short yardage and the 2-point play rules and overtime, you better have a stable of good plays that can get you some yardage. Thank y'all.